give you a book review. The backstory of this is that the Memphis Java Users Group in January had a series of talks by various members who talked about books they wanted to recommend to the folks to read. And so I'm just going to talk a little bit about one of mine for just a minute. It's encouraging to see a resurgence of interest in programming languages, especially given the renewed attention to the benefits of a good notation, an expressive notation. The book I want to talk about offers an in-depth discussion of a very nice language, just as it's leaving the metaphorical starting gate. There are actually two compilers discussed in this book. One that's intended for rapid turnaround, like you might use in an agile or a test-driven kind of an environment. The other supporting aggressive optimization for improved performance and memory utilization. The discussion of the virtual machine offers enough detail that the motivated reader could actually re-implement it just from the book's description. The team that collaborated on the language's design managed to dodge all of the typical cliches about comedies and camels and produced a language that combines best-of-breed features from its predecessors into a sparse and elegant design. And there's always criticism when the language doesn't look exactly like people expect based on their prior experience. But a look below that surface reveals some very cool things. For example, in this language, simply by putting an expression as an actual parameter in a method call, you get a live expression that gets reevaluated every time the formal parameter is referenced in the called method. No complicated special purpose syntax required. As soon as early draft notes in this language began to emerge, all manner of interesting discussions began about how to understand, teach, use, and implement these ideas effectively. One of my personal indications of the quality of a programming language is how much it allows or even challenges me to think differently about programming. Our field moves very rapidly, styles and fads come and go, but I predict the ideas pulled together in this language and the implementation concepts communicated in this book will have a long-term effect on our craft. So without any further ado, the book I'm heartily recommending is Randall and Russell's book on implementing Algol 60 on the English Electric KDF-9. The published book is a copyright date in 1964. Ezra Dijkstra's foreword was actually written in 1963. Why am I recommending a 46-year-old book? Back when I was young and naive, I believed that the sum of human knowledge was growing and increasing constantly as, over time, research and study pushed the boundaries of the unknown further and further out. And the island of knowledge becomes a continent ever expanding its shoreline. Well, now I'm not so young, maybe still naive. I see continental drift, earthquakes, fragments breaking off and going their own way, some perhaps sinking out of sight. We could talk about the Incan stonework, Egyptian pyramids, Easter Island script, stained glass, the Antikythera device, medieval calligraphic techniques, and many other examples of lost knowledge, some recovered at great effort, others eluding us essentially forever. This statement, attributed to Native American sources often, gives us an important perspective. Our field is only about 3 generations old, but we are already losing track or reinventing important ideas. This puts our craft at risk, not only from the patent trolls who would benefit from the ignorance of prior art, and the commercial interests who would strip mine our technical heritage for concepts they can sell back to us in the name of innovation, but also from our own diminished effectiveness when we lose important skills. But I can't claim any originality here. A very smart guy from a while back wrote about the way in which we seem to keep rediscovering past ideas while losing track of where they came from. At the same time, he warned against obsessing over the past and having the wrong attitude toward change. So perhaps Solomon deserves to be remembered as one of the earliest agile thought leaders.